going on, everybody? Welcome back. Venator Trading. It is Wednesday, August the 9th, 7 a.m. 10K to $2 million funding challenge. We're back at it. Sponsored by Bespoke Funding Program. Use code Venator when you purchase any challenge at Bespoke, and you get 15% off and an 85% profit split. So hope you take advantage of that. But welcome in, everybody. Glad you guys are here. It is Wednesday. No news again today. It is August. Probably one of the worst months to be trading in. We just came out of the worst month so far, and looks like August is shaping up to be another spectacularly frustrating month to trade. But we're here every day. We're sitting here watching and waiting, hunting our trophy buck A+ setups, sitting in the tree stand, enjoying the view, and maybe that buck's gonna walk out today. We don't know. But welcome in, John, Bilemansky, Daz, Cisco, Dennis Dazo. Welcome in, guys. Glad you are here. Glad you're back. I was looking at my YouTube channel. I was looking at it yesterday. Let me go pull it up. Ah, shit. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do that. There we go. Now I want to go do this. All right. So this is kind of crazy. After today's stream, we will have 33, 43, 53, 66. We'll have almost 70 live videos, almost 70 straight days. Tomorrow will be day 70 that I've been streaming every day, which I know it's not a huge number, but for me, I was looking at that like, holy crap. It doesn't feel like I've done this 70 times already, but I have. And I don't know, I was just kind of like, that's kind of freaking cool. Like we're in a month, we'll be over 100 days of live streams. I mean, I think that's kind of a big deal. At least it is for me. I don't know if anybody else thinks that's a big deal, but I kind of impressed myself just a little bit. Like, dang, man, like, you're doing it. Like, you're streaming. You're here every day and you're streaming, and it's stacking up. A brick by brick, you're building it. And I don't know. I just thought I'd share that with all of you that are here every day, because you guys are here most every day too. And it just would suck if nobody was watching. So I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate you guys being around and watching me do nothing for the last month and a half. So, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. I need to, maybe I can save up a couple challenge free giveaways, or maybe reach out to Bespoke when we get closer to that 100th live stream, and we'll do a big giveaway on the 100th live stream or something. So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's just kind of cool. I knew that, I mean, if you stream every day, eventually you're going to get there, but I don't know, you just do it every day and you don't even think about it. And then you actually look at the numbers and you're like, dude, that's a legit number. That's a legit number. How many other mentors out there have 100 live stream sessions on their YouTube page? I bet there's not many. I mean, there's some, because like Raja Banks, he live streamed every day for like years. which maybe we'll get there. But I mean, in general, there's not a ton of guys out there that have that have 70 already. I've been doing this for 3 months and we've already got 70. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, I've been thinking about that the last, I don't know, I saw it yesterday afternoon. Just been thinking about it this morning too. So kind of cool. Good morning, Beeswax and Trading Night, Chase, David Dream, Sasquatch, Mr. Alfie, Michael Dahl, and Muhammad. All good to see you guys back in here. The YouTube watch hours. Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? I bet we're over 4,000 today. Let me look. I bet we're over 4,000. We're at 803 subscribers. And in the last 90 days, yes. So this says 4,052 watch hours. Now on the earn side is always 24 hours behind, so that'll catch up tomorrow. But the live analytics show us over 4,000 watch hours, so that's freaking awesome. About 197 more subscribers, and we'll be fully monetized on the YouTube channel. So that's kind of nice. We're getting there. We're getting there. We'll hopefully in the next, I don't know, 30 days or so. I promise you, as soon as I start posting some winning trades or a payout, it'll pop up because people will, I don't know, it just when you post winning trades, people subscribe. So we'll get there. But yeah, it's kind of cool. We've crossed the watch hour threshold. Now we just need to get to the subscriber threshold. We need another 197 subscribers. So we'll get there. Market is just slow. I've been stuck in a sell on EU from the top wick for 3 hours. Yeah, the market is just not. I mean, you can see we're just moving sideways now. And that could be really for the rest of August. It could just be this nasty sideways, stuck above this fair value gap. You got these relative equal highs up here, which look kind of nice. Besides that, it's just not much going on anywhere. I mean, it's just sideways. Everything is sideways. So you just have to be nimble and quick and find something that might move you. We have news tomorrow and Friday, so that might kick us out of some little consolidation area. But yeah, currently there's just not a whole lot. Oh, good morning, Adrian. Daz, next giveaway must be subbed. Yeah, I think the next giveaway this Friday, it's only going to be for people on the live stream. And so I'll just pick a time. I'll tweet out giveaway on live stream in, 10 minutes. Like retweet this, tweet or something like that. But I'll just let everyone in here know what that tweet is, and we'll just make it real quick. Everyone in here, give everyone in the stream a chance to go retweet it, and then we'll quickly do the draw so we can guarantee somebody here on the stream is going to get it. Some of the regulars. One of the regulars, anyway. The last one I did, you had to be subscribed to my YouTube channel. And we did pick up, I don't know, maybe another 30 or 40 subs. We didn't get a ton, but we did pick up a few. And I know that just, doing a good live stream is not just enough. Just sitting here and talking and chatting it up with you all while it's great for me and I enjoy it, and you seem to be getting a lot out of it, in general, it's just not the most entertaining of trading live streams. And I'm not necessarily trying to be trading. I mean, the whole point of this stream is to show you how professional traders respond to live market conditions with one specific strategy. And it is testing my patience, and I feel the pressure to bring in my other strategies so that there are more setups being called out. The problem is that my other strategies, they're not great for streaming because a lot of them just, well, a lot of them, I don't have a lot of them. There's two more, but they all revolve around the higher time frame entries, and they're just limit orders that I set before I go to bed every night, and I wake up in the morning and I've either gotten triggered in or I haven't. So they're just not great for there's really nothing to see, really. I mean, other than me talking about them, it's not like I'm not going to get on the live stream before I go to bed to call out a trade. So there's that is kind of frustrating, which is one reason why I've been working on a couple of other strategies right now, refining them, and maybe bringing some of how that works into the live stream, because that could be helpful for people. How do you build a strategy? How do you go from scratch with either no idea or a basic idea, and backtest it, build rules around it, try different variations of it until you get to something that you can actually bring to the market and utilize with money on the line. So that could be, I think that could be a better option, is just showing you how to build out a strategy and then actually use that strategy on the live stream for maybe not this challenge, maybe buy a whole separate 10K challenge, maybe with a different firm. I don't know, maybe bespoke or whatever, but just bring in another variation, because quite honestly, even I could admit it's boring as hell sitting here watching nothing happen and have trades called out and then not get entries and cancel them over and over and over and over and over. So I get it. GU has been blasting down. Yeah, we had a nice little, here we are on the daily. I mean, it's been blasting down only in that it's still inside yesterday's range. And yesterday's range only took out Monday's range, the low, but didn't take out Friday's high or low. So GU is still inside. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it didn't. 26832 and 2. Yeah. See, yesterday's candle didn't even take out Friday's low. So we're still inside Friday's range. That's how inside and sideways we are. Even on GU, even though it's falling right now. Friday's high and low has still yet to be taken after 3 days of trading. And Friday's not a big candle. It's not it's just a normal looking daily range. And we haven't taken out the high or low on Friday yet. So, I mean, you can see it on the weekly. Look at this. Like, here's your normal weekly ranges, and we're 3 days into this week, and just look at that little nasty candle. That thing's disgusting. I mean, what even is that? So, it's just not high probability trading conditions. This is the 4 hour. Daily's moving sideways, 4 hours moving sideways. 1 hour's moving sideways. You know, I mean, there's a very, very small case to be made that you ran buy side liquidity, and before the stream started, you reached back up into this breaker right here, this fair value gap inside this breaker candle. Last down close candle that initiated all of these runs on liquidity. That candle right there initiated that run on liquidity, and then we've displaced down and displaced below here on this candle, came back up into it, tapped into that tiny little fair value gap on the 30-minute, and now we're falling away. So we don't really have a great setup here on GU, and EU doesn't have that at all. Like, we would need some pretty big down close candles here to get through this morass of whatever the hell that is. GJ had a nice little setup. I mean, kind of a nice little setup. We took out buy side liquidity and we've displaced through, and you came back. It's still inside this breaker. It's not flying away off of GJ, but GJ is so bullish right now that it's hard to want to take a counter trend trade here. But again, it's just GJ and EJ have been so bullish. To take something like this just feels wrong to me. That's the only way I know how to say it, is that it just doesn't feel super clean. Because we're moving sideways here too. So, and you still have on the higher time frames these relative equal highs up here on the daily. You took out, again, remember, you came up, accumulated, took out the sell side, and came up, traded back into the range, and now we're pushing up higher. So this is why I would be very cautious on GJ. I don't feel good about taking that kind of setup when you've got clean relative equal highs up here and then on the higher time frame just above that a little bit further. So I'm not a fan of this. I would rather see it have, now that we've taken sell side, displace higher and give us a breaker so that we can get to the buy side. And EJ obviously not giving that same look. On the daily, you can see how clean the daily buy side is. Again, that's why I would not be wanting to get short here. It could work and grab some more sell side. It's counter trend. It's massively counter trend. And I just would stand to the side and wait for a bullish setup. Same for EJ here. I would look for a bullish setup here, which we haven't really gotten. We ran a little sell side right here. You can see we dipped down in during the London session, took out this sell side. We tried to displace, couldn't. We finally did displace up. And then the pullback came into, it didn't come all the way down to this lower breaker. It stopped right here at the top of this breaker. Touched it, ran up, came back, retested. We haven't made a new high yet. So potentially you could see EJ maybe coming down and refilling some of this into this fair value gap in that breaker, and then run higher up into these daily highs up here. All that. So you could see this fair value gap get this act as sell side, and you might be able to get long in here. Maybe. Maybe. that could be a little bit of a setup. The only, again, here's your cautions is you're moving sideways, so you could be just setting up some seek and destroy type. It's August. Again, it's just obviously a clear run on buy side liquidity above all these highs. We've stabbed up into it. And this area down here looks pretty clean, but yeah, I kind of like, I don't know. I'm going to let that sit and marinate for a minute because I need to think about that a little bit more. Do I like that as a run on liquidity and then displacement away? Grab liquidity, pop up, fair value gap, breaker, relative equal lows, sets up a nice sell side liquidity run. I don't know. I'm going to let that marinate. Sasquatch, I got in on GU short, Alpha Bridge. Hey guys, Cisco, you thinking Friday again for the giveaway? Yes, the giveaway we will do on Friday for sure. What's up, Red Ezekiel? Cisco, we like seeing the reality of trading rather than the hype. I get that. But I think there's some more education I could do that would it could be of value. Like, I'm trying to figure out what can I offer you that's valuable. I know sitting here watching all of this roll out live, there's value in that. I get that. But is there more that I could do? Let's just say, what if I had a private community and people were paying to come into that community to learn or just have access to everything going on there? What else would I want to offer? And I think showing people how to build out their own strategy and not just take for granted someone else says, here's the 3 steps to trading, but actually doing it on your own and being able to build something out like that. I think there's value in that. There's not a lot of people out there that I know of that have shown you how to create your own trading plan from scratch. So maybe we could add that in. I do really enjoy using FX Replay. I haven't back tested in forever. It came highly recommended from some guys. I checked it out. They have a free trial offer, and I've been using that right now. But I have enjoyed it, and it's very easy to use, and it collects all of the analytics for you from your entire back testing session. It's really cool. I like it. I do like it. Michael, I've been working on learning OTE setup, so I have both that and the breaker fair value gap setup. The OTE strategy is basically what I use on my higher time frame strategy. It's basically a order block OTE fair value gap strategy, and it's a little more discretionary than this one. There are some rules, but not as many and not as clear as what we're doing here with this one. This one is my most mechanical strategy, which is why I think it's good for people who are struggling with executing or even finding a strategy, and taking out some of that discretionary component, I think is good for traders that are struggling. The less discretion you have, the more confidence you're going to have in just going, this checked all the boxes. I didn't make the decision. The system made the decision. And it can help with your self-discipline and mental side of choosing when to get into a trade or not. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Man. Could definitely see you're getting a run on buy side liquidity here. If we get some displacement through this low down here, we could have a potential sell setup. The indexes have been in a drawback, a pullback from their massive run up. There could be some more weakness here on it. I think long term it's bullish, but I think short term you could see some more weakness here. So we'll watch all of those. NAS showing quite a bit. Probably the weakest is the NAS, and you're getting that displacement through here on NAS right now. This is the last down close candle here. I almost prefer to use all of those. If you look on a 30-minute, it would be those three down close candles. If you look on the 1 hour, yeah, it would be that big one right there, which I kind of like that. And you're getting a nice little fair value gap in here inside, which, there's already nice little breaker right there. Probably about 50% of that is right there, and we have to put our stops up here. You're going to need to see this 15-minute candle close outside there. Let me scroll back over here. Sorry. Overnight limit orders are 50-50, Maria. Do it, but I often get stopped out. I mean, 50% win rate's not bad, man. I mean, if you're winning twice as much as you're losing, 50% is killer. I'm out of it now, just waiting for it to pull back to a fair value gap, see if it continues short yet. Getting stopped out. Yeah. The least success with breaker blocks. Well, I mean, then you don't have to get good at them. I mean, you can totally bail on those, John. You don't have to just keep forcing it at all. Like that's not something you just have to do. I'm kind of digging this trade on NAS here. We've got displacement. We've got a closure below. I really like that setup. It's very pretty. I might be calling that out there. I mean, you've had a clear run of buy side liquidity here. It's taken out multiple swing levels, and after you've just had a quick run back down. So I'm kind of digging that. Part of me wants to wait until this hourly candle closes and sees what happens here on this hourly candle close right there. The 30-minute just closed outside of it. If this hourly candle closes back up, this is why higher time frame is so important. Getting in flow with the higher time frame is so key. It's very, very important. Coming back up into this order block, this fair value gap is being respected right here, and this order block is being respected. We're wicking down. We've made lower lows, pulled back into it. If this hourly candle, again, it could just be grabbing some of this liquidity here into this, rebalancing this fair value gap. This is why the higher time frames are very important. Like, you want to make sure that you're in line. This is why that GJ trade, I was like, I don't want to get short on GJ right here, because the higher time frames are bullish. And to see that confirmation on a higher time frame on this breaker right here is going to be pretty important. Matthew says, with it being CPI tomorrow, how do you approach trading on that day? Don't trade until that news hits. You wait until after the news hits, and then you see if there's a setup. Very often on the red folder news days, there's no setups because you get these massive spiked candles, and you just don't have a great opportunity to find a clean setup. It can happen. It's rare. How to identify the liquidity it would want to take out, or how to train the eye to spot liquidity. I always overlook the liquidity it took out, like previous week high, yesterday's high, and the like. I used to mark those. I used to mark the previous day high and low. Now I can just see them. I mean, I can see where the previous day high and low was. I can see Friday. I can see Monday, right? I can just, you can see the levels. I used to have them marked out, and it would say, there would be a line right here, and it would just be like, pre-PDH, PDL. You could also do previous week high, previous week low. I just see them now. I don't mark them out on my, maybe it would be helpful for you guys for me to mark those out. But I just talk about them all the time. You'll hear me say, hey, it took out yesterday's high, just took out yesterday's low, or something like that. Or, hey, we have SMT, the dollar took out yesterday's low. The euro dollar did not take out yesterday's low. So we probably have some SMT. We might be going higher from here. So I just see them now. But you have different forms of liquidity. You have obviously previous day highs and lows. There's liquidity there. Previous session highs and lows. So the London session highs and lows, the Asian session highs and lows, the New York session highs and lows. All of those offer liquidity. You have fair value gaps and order blocks and relative equal highs and relative equal lows inside of hourly candles. There's always some drawn liquidity it's reaching for. Previous week high, previous week low, volume imbalances. there's a lot of different ways to identify where those draws on liquidity are. Leaving behind some nice relative equal lows here on S&P. Pretty clean equal lows down here and here on US 30. Little volume gap up there on US 30. I didn't see one. Oh, I guess there's a small one right there on S&P. It may not show up on the actual futures charts, but they do exist on the 8-cap server. Excuse me. I guess there's a tiny little volume imbalance right there. I often, sorry, Red, let me get back to the comments. I often look merely at the equal highs and forget to look on the key levels based on time. Yeah, dude, it's just, you got to be conscientious of those higher time frames. You want to make sure that you don't get so, you get so right in front of your time frame. It's the only time frame that matters. And you've got to know where the higher time frame is moving and how it's printing candles. So I don't always do a good job of it, but I try to always pop up and look at what the 4-hour candle is doing. This 4-hour candle is about to, it's got 2 hours left on this 4-hour candle. It's putting in, unless it closes above this, it's putting in a swing, a lower high here. So you're getting a swing level. Put in a swing low. And like I said, in the next 2 hours, if it closes above that, then that's fine. But it's currently putting in a swing high right here. You have a lower high, a higher high, and a lower high. That's your swing level. So we'll see how that 4-hour finishes printing. But knowing what's going on like the 4-hour, especially the daily, can save you a world of hurt on those lower time frame entries. Again, I would like to see this 1-hour candle close outside of this breaker. Otherwise, this was just a little bear trap. Just a little pullback into this fair value gap. Grab some of these relative equal lows. All these pretty equal lows right here. So we can run higher. I also don't like to call index trades until after the 9:30 open. They're kind of fickle until the market actually opens. So you often get a Judas swing, and then you get a rocket or a fall off a cliff moment. So another reason why I would probably just stay clear of that. But if this hourly candle can push back down in the next 20 minutes, if we can get a big rejection off of that, it would make me feel a lot more comfortable looking to see if there's a possible entry there. Muhammad experience is really an underrated subject and not many people talk about it, but it really changes your point of view. You can't buy experience. That's the one thing you can't buy from any educator or community. You can't buy experience. It only is purchased with time and effort, sadly. You can't buy it. The stop on NAS is just above the bodies of this candle here. I wanted to put it above the order block. If you look on the 30-minute, it's above these three candles, there's a small little fair value gap right there. So it was just above the bodies of those candles. It's coming up into this little 15-minute order block right here. It's about to tap into the bottom of it. So we'll see if it wants to turn around, but it looks pretty, it looks like it wants to run higher here. Just tapping into this sell side right here. Basically taking out the Asian session. No, I guess the Asian session's over here. It started here. But it did take out all the London lows here. For sure. And now it's pulling back up. That's the main reason. I wanted to get it above that order block. And on the 30-minute, there's that tiny little fair value gap at the top of the breaker. And I always try to make sure I have it above the highest fair value, the candle that has the highest fair value gap left to be tapped. So that's why, John. I'm also lacking on liquidity detection. Yeah, I mean, I still get liquidity, the drawn liquidity wrong. I mean, you're not going to be right all the time on where the drawn liquidity is. Don't feel like you have to be perfect at it to be a good trader, because you don't. You need to be good at it, but you don't have to be perfect at it. I wasn't trying to be critical. I should have said that. Breaker block is a work in progress. Oh no, I get it. I just don't get frustrated. If some strategies just click with you. Some strategies for some traders just don't click, and they don't get it. They don't work. They don't like them, whatever. You don't have to be the master of everything. Find the one or two that you really, really like and really understand, and have a decent 40 to 50% win rate. And as long as you're winning twice as many as you lose, as long as you're winning twice as much as you lose, then you'll be fine. I got a indicator to mark out midnight Eastern. So the days are separated, which cleans it a lot for me. It's very helpful. There are some good indicators. You can just do midnight open New York time, like this one right here. I don't even know what it is, but we'll. Did I add it in there? Did it come in? Yeah, there it is. If we midnight open, let's see. Line style dashed. Color, let's make it like yellow. But I don't see it. Why didn't it? Does it not work? Why didn't add it on that one? Why isn't I definitely added it. Did I not do this right? I don't know. That's stupid. The other thing you can just do is I used to just have it marked out just right there. And then every day I would just move this line up or down depending on where it was. There's your midnight open. Open, pushed up, came back down, tapped into sell side liquidity below midnight open, and now it's pushing up. Great reason of how to use a higher time frame to show how something is not going to work out on a lower time frame right here. Beautiful example. Go back and watch the last 30 minutes of how I avoided being in that trade and then analyzing that. That is a beautiful example of how you need to be in line with the higher time frames. Otherwise, you could have gotten just completely chopped right there. Take that off. That was the, yeah, there's your midnight open right there. Good morning, Michael D. In my city, mostly all the roads are underwater. What? All of your roads are underwater? Are you is that serious, Muhammad, or am I missing a joke that I'm not in on? Are all your roads seriously underwater right now? Look for the DWMY indicator. It's fire. I'm not a big indicator guy, but I don't mind throwing them up and looking at them. DWMY. Which one is it? This one? There's a couple. Oh, okay. So that's nice. The weekly open, the daily open. Except that's, can you change the daily open? Can you change how that registers? The monthly open? It's kind of cool. I mean, it's not bad. If you can, the daily. See, the only problem is you can't change. I would want the daily to show the midnight. What happens if you change that? Oh, I guess it's moving it. Oh, I guess it just, oh, you can, the number of daily opens. I see. So you could have like the last 5 daily opens on your calendar or on your screen. Is that the way it works? I mean, it's okay. I would prefer to be able to change that time, but it doesn't give you that option that I see. You can have the number of daily opens that you want to see. Show tells, show projections. Just so not as cool as I thought. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to be able to see where you're at, especially in relation to the week and the month. That's kind of nice to be able to see where you are in relation to those. That's kind of nice. I do like that. Not bad. I do wish it would be, if you could manipulate the time that it registers those opens, that would be better. A vertical line to separate the days, although I do have the horizontal line for midnight open price as well. The horizontal, I mean, the vertical daily separators are kind of nice. I agree with you on that, Michael. Good morning, Kenneth. LOL. Good morning, Muhammad. Most of them. Where are you? Result of corrupted government of Bangladesh, dude. That's nuts, man. So what? Are you just like stuck in your house right now? Dang, man. Is it from flooding, like rain flooding, or is it just like, help me understand what's going on over there in Bangladesh? I live in a hilly area, so not many issues. Heavy rain. Dude, we have not had rain here. I can't remember the last time it rained here. It is so dry. Like the community I live in has an irrigation system, so all the grass like in our little community is green and it's great, but everything outside, if you're not watering your grass all the time or your lawn or whatever it is, it's just dead and brown and crunches when you walk on it. It is so freaking dry here. We are in desperate need of rain. In fact, if it rained right now, it would probably create some flash flooding because the ground is so dry, it wouldn't be able to soak it up fast enough. And it would just run off and create some flash flooding, I would imagine, on some streets. But it's got to rain. It's got to rain quite a bit for our roads to flood. There's always a few like low-lying roads that always are going to get flooded if it gets a really, really good rain. But for the most part, I mean, like when Hurricane Harvey came in 2017, everything was flooded. I mean, it was like 60 inches of rain in like 36 hours. Everything was flooded. Not just streets, homes, businesses, everything got wrecked. They said that was like a every 500 year kind of a storm. So fingers crossed we don't get another one of those for 500 years. Golly, what a freaking boring day, man. Oh, goodness. Chop, chop, chop. Everywhere we look, there's just chop. Our sewage system was not maintained. That's why that happened. That does not sound fun. Well, what do we do, boys and girls? Besides watch candles move sideways. Dollar. This little daily fair value gap here. Should go ahead and note that. Punt. I don't know what punt means. New York Open might give us something. Yeah, you know, it might. Right now I have RRR 3.38 with a 27% win rate. Is it good enough? Well, there's a let me see. 3.38. Oh, sorry. You're risking 1. Your reward is 3.38. Your break-even rate is 22.8%. So if you have a 3.38, I can just throw you I'll show you what I'm looking at. I just typed this in very quickly. What the heck? Come on. Get that down. Nope, not that. Where did it go? I literally just had it up here. Oh, there it is. All right. This is just a break-even calculator. Okay, so this is a risk-reward break-even calculator. So you put in, you're risking 1, your reward is 3.38. You hit calculate, and it tells you to be break-even, you have to have a 22.83% win rate. So if you have a 27.38% win rate, you are profitable. So this is why I use a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio, because I only need 33% win rate to break even, and I'm averaging over 50% win rate with a 1-to-2 risk reward ratio. So this is why I always tell you guys 1-to-2 is perfectly fine. Like, get that low, easy hanging fruit. You're gonna see your win rate increase. Your take profits will get hit more often, and your equity, you'll see that equity go up as well. So just consider taking a little bit of a lower reward. A 27% win rate means you have to live through a lot of losses if you're only winning 27%. So you've got to be extremely comfortable losing. In fact, you've got to get so comfortable with knowing most of the trades I take lose. Most of the trades I take lose. That's how comfortable you have to be. I don't like that. My mindset is one that says I would prefer having a higher win rate and a lower risk reward than I would sitting through, out of 100 trades, more than 70 of them are losers. With a 27% win rate, 73 out of 100 trades will lose. Can you deal with that? I don't know that I could. That sucks. I don't know that I could deal with that. Maybe, I mean, I guess there's people out there that have the mindset and the mental toughness to, whoa, almost lost my headphones. Some people have the mental toughness to be able to deal with that. I don't like it. I would prefer to win more. At least half, if not more than half of the trades I take. I would prefer that. EU getting a little pushed down. See what's going on here. Coming into our 8 o'clock hour here. Dollar giving a little push up. See how it displaces. If we can get some displacement above some of these levels, could potentially see a little pop up. Maybe. Might, we need to see another 15-minute candle print before we can get excited about anything there. This really wasn't a bad setup. It got triggered in at 6:30 before we were able to get on the stream here. This little breaker, fair value gap. Pretty little setup, and it may not even work out. It would probably be close to break even at this point. Down in here. GJ again, this is a counter trend trade, which is why I'm not in it. EJ, not much there. US 30, nothing. We'll just leave it on EU. Oh, best advice I got from Venator: lowering your RR. It's pretty good advice, I think. Does the RR calculator include commission costs? It does not, but that's why I just add in a little bit more. It's not going to change. It's not going to change it too dramatically. Let me put that back in. So if you do risk one to win, let's say 2.1. The other one was 33.33 to break even, and that changes it to 32.26. So about a quarter of a percent less. Well, maybe like 1% less to break even if you do a 2.1. But it doesn't even have to be 2.1 typically. It could be 2.05 even would probably cover your costs, and that's 32.8 is your break even percent. So basically 32 to 33% is break even. Which means out of 10 trades, if you win 3 of them, you're basically at break even right there. And if you win 4, you're profitable. If you win 5, you're very profitable. $11 trades in, still 70% win rate with 2RR. Dude, that's killer, man. What's your strategy, Mohammed? Brief, like you don't have to give me like every single rule, but what's the general gist of the strategy you're using for 70% win rate? Maybe you should be doing the live stream. Do you think 109.560 is a good place to get out? 109. I mean, if you're just looking at pulling a fib here, I would target somewhere below 50% of the move. This move up. So somewhere between the OTE and the 50% could be a decent target there. This little small fair value gap, it could be all it wants to reach into at 096, basically 0965. But it could just be kind of doing what Nas did. We're in an uptrend here on the lower time frames. We've had a break of structure. We've filled in this fair value gap completely, and it's respecting it. This fair value gap right here, this high to this low, this fair value gap right there is being respected. As well as this order block. Oh man, when I stop talking, I start yawning. Order block, OTE, higher time frame. It's a legit good strategy. It really is. I didn't take this sell last night, but this would have been my sell. The 4 hour doesn't look as clean. The 1 hour probably looks the cleanest, and I would have used the wick to body as an entry, and I probably would have taken a loss on this had I used it. In fact, I didn't, but typically I like to get in right at the body. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Right there, and I would have had my stop above, and it would have clipped that stop loss. But that's how I would have looked at using that trade right there. Is the low of the week in? That's a good question. Nobody asked that. I've asked it myself. Oh, sorry. Monday, Tuesday, we're going to take out last week's low. We've already tapped back into this daily fair value gap right here. And we've pushed back off of it and left last week's low in place. Do have some nice relative equal highs up here. It's kind of pretty. Also aligns with the standard deviation of 1 off of this 4 hour leg up. I mean, basically perfectly with that, in fact. I don't know why I'm yawning so much right now. I don't really feel tired. It's times like these where I just like, what else can we do, y'all? Because there's just nothing stinking happening. Nothing at all. Alpha Bridge says, I'm in a huge break-even phase now. I made 0.5% profit after 21 trades like ping pong. That can be frustrating. Break-evens are... It depends on when you move to break-even. What I do, this is how I would work through break-even trades, and I would get frustrated because I moved to break-even at 1.5%, which means because I risk 2% per trade. Because I risk 2% per trade, excuse me, I would be up 3% in profit if I'm 1.5% in favor before I go to break even. I'm 3% in profit. And that can really mess with you if you hit a couple of those in a row. It can really mess with you. Because you just start count. Let's say you hit 2 or 3 of those in a row, 2 or 3 break evens in a row. You start adding up. That's 9% profit that you walked away from. So when you start thinking about the math like that and you start calculating the profits that you left on the table, hypothetically, you can start being like, man, I'll just move everything to 1.5. Well, that immediately changes your whole risk management strategy. So I moved to 1.5 and I get very few break evens because it's so close to my TP. If I can get to break even, I'm pretty confident the majority of the time I'm going to get that full TP. And I usually don't get multiple break evens in a row. And that's why I don't move at 1R. I wait to get to 1.5 or a level around 1.5. If there's like, if these lows were maybe 1.3 or 1.4, when it broke those, I would move to break even. So it's not like set in stone concrete. It has to be 1.5. It's a level at or near 1.5. So that can get frustrating, constantly hitting those break evens. I feel you. Same with 2022 model, no setup on major pairs, nothing. Yeah, there's just nothing, man. It is, the market is broken. Absolutely broken. Matthew Hope, is it more profitable long-term for you to go break even after 1.5 compared to letting the trade hit stop loss or TP every time? It's definitely more profitable to go to break even at 1.5. I've done the numbers, and if it reverses after 1.5, it typically goes all the way to the stop at that point. So you start thinking the banks are after your stops. You do start thinking that. It's easy to play those mind games that the market is concerned about you. And it's not. It's not at all. DXY getting a little life in its legs here at the 8 o'clock hour. EU. Leaving behind no decent fair value gap to work with, of course. Thank you, EU, for not playing nicely. It's much appreciated. I mean, why would you? GU, this was the breaker setup on GU. It came in at 6:30 this morning before we got on the stream. Beautiful, nice little setup right there off of that breaker. This little 15-minute breaker right there. Beautiful fair value gap. Just wicked into it and then has completely popped off. The GJ trade does look like it's going to reach down here for these lows. And again, I didn't take this because it's counter trend. I would prefer to see it run sell side and displace higher. This EJ trade still showing some interest for me. It is bullish. It is in line with the higher time frame. This little run on liquidity isn't super strong. I mean, it did tap it and then displace higher. So not ideal. Again, there's just nothing that looks beautiful to me. There's just nothing that looks super beautiful. Oh my goodness, let's see here. I moved my stop loss to 3 pips in profit after a 15 pip move, which is 1R. 1R, moving to break even at 1R, you're definitely going to get a lot more break evens when you move at 1R. That used to be where I would move to break even when I was basically scared of losing trades. So I increased it and got control of my fear, basically. Took out some liquidity here on NAS. Didn't take out that liquidity on US 30 and the S&P. So looks like we could be going lower here on the indexes. Little SMT potentially. Let's get back over here. I'm missing some chat stuff. Bespoke new dashboard not up yet. Managed to get in on their flash 25K discount code yesterday. It was wild. That's awesome. Yeah, the 25K account, what they gave away 25K accounts, or you just got a discount. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I saw that. And I haven't seen, is the dashboard even up yet? Let me look. I don't know when it's supposed to come out live. Let me log on. No, it's still not up. I'm excited to see it though. Do you risk less than 2% now at your current drawdown? No, I don't. If I lose another trade, I'll reduce my risk. Well, unless I win. If I lose the next trade, I'll reduce my risk. But no, we're still at 2% risk right now. My max losing streak is 4. So if I hit my max losing streak, I will reduce my risk down to 1%, which means I would have to lose 2 more trades in a row to violate the drawdown. Yeah, I saw that they gave 100 people, they let 100 people in to use that code. They intended it just to be the first 3, but so many did it so fast. They honored it and let 100 people have that free account. So that's kind of cool. Is on Twitter. I think they're only giving you 1 though, right? Yeah, I think they just give you 1. Everybody got 1 who got in. They honored 100 of them, which is cool. I mean, they didn't have to honor that. They could have just stuck with the first 3 that they could look on their computer system and see who the first 3 were. But they honored 100 of them, so that's kind of cool. $2.5 million of challenges. John, that's a great question. What did I just say? They kept, what accent is that? They kept saying it's coming. Oh, this week, oh, this month, but something is slowing them down behind the scenes. I don't know if it's regulatory. I don't know if it's just back-end system development. I'm not really sure about my funded futures. I thought it would be out by now. I thought I had seen Matt, the CEO, say that it was going to be by the end of July. Where obviously, maybe I misread that, but I thought he said it would be end of July. But I don't know what's taking them so long to launch. But when they do, I imagine it's going to be a pretty big shift for the futures trading community. If you took that GJ trade, you should be at break even right now. Here you can see, let me just show you what SMT is. This high to that low, we didn't take out that high, US 30. Look at S&P. We didn't take out the high on the S&P, but look at NAS. We took out that high. So that's what SMT is when one of the indexes reaches up for liquidity and the other two don't. That typically signals that these two didn't need to reach for that liquidity. They're just going to be weaker and start dropping. And NAS did want to reach for that liquidity. So that's a pretty clear example of SMT right there. Daz, did you have to pay for the challenge before they then give it to you for free? How did it work? No, I think it's a free challenge. It's just you put the discount code was a 100% off discount code. So it was completely free the way I understood that. So he shouldn't have to pay for it. It's the same with TradingView Access. They said it was May or April it was going to be out. Yeah. My funded futures are actually building from the back end. They want so many things to be in place before officially launched. It's kind of what I figured. GU 79% OTE is at 27049. Looking for buys. I don't know that I'd be looking to get long on GU right now, but I mean, you potentially could be, but dollar grabbing some buy side liquidity above these relative equal highs here on the 1 hour time frame. Jeez, Maggie. My dog's laying on the couch behind me over here. You can hear her claws scraping across the fabric. Got real quiet all of a sudden. I'm just looking at some higher time frame, seeing what I see. She's going to wake mom up, I guarantee it. It's about that time. She's like, time to go bark at the boogeyman outside. Let's go. Grabbed some sell side liquidity here. Let's see, the Asian session lows, they're going to be back here. Really all of these lows right here, your Asian session lows. I know that there's a new day opening gap here. But this is your Asian session low down here. What a crappy day, man. What's something else? What's something else like not? What about like CAD Swiss? What about CAD Swiss? Has nothing to do with the dollar or the yen. What's going on here? Anything? We're in a downtrend. We're in a weekly downtrend. The monthly has made new lows. Looks like all-time lows. So we've taken out some monthly time frame. We're definitely heading lower. We're very weak on CAD Swiss. Weekly time frame tapped back up into this fair value gap. Daily, same kind of junk we're in everywhere else. Look at that. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Obvious got some relative equal lows down here. Off of that. Higher high, higher low, lower. We're just coming down. We're in a downtrend on the 4-hour time frame. We have grabbed sell side liquidity, fell to displace above. This 4-hour candle has 32 minutes left in it, and it has fell to displace above this high. It has grabbed some liquidity right there, push back in. Grab liquidity, broke structure, fell to make a new low, broke structure, popped up. Nice relative equal lows down here. Of course, the higher time frame, we've taken out buy side liquidity. We've taken out buy side liquidity. If we got some displacement below there, you might be able to get in on CAD Swiss. I don't even know I'm talking about CAD Swiss. I'm just tired of looking at all the other stupid pairs. Somebody give me another pair. At least we could just hop around and look and see if there's any setup somewhere in the world. I got SMT between DXY and EU. I want EU to break above the 15-minute order block before the big move lower here for a breaker fair value gap setup. Let's see what you're talking about. So we took out the high on the 21-hour. Yeah. Okay. So DXY has taken out the high that is correlated to that low. Let me go let my dog out real quick. Hold on. So we might have some SMT there. This is what Michael's noting, is that EU did not take out that low and DXY took out that high right there. The corresponding high. So that's SMT, meaning the dollar could show weakness now after taking out that liquidity, and the euro dollar did not need to take that out, and so we could see some strength off of the dollar there. And he just came back in. So what Michael was saying is he wants to see EU break above this order block here, grab liquidity right here, and then displace and give us a breaker to go lower. That's what Michael, that's the way I understood his comment. Red as Eagle, does this really always happen in a year where you wouldn't get any setup for a few months or two? Well, we've gotten setups. We just haven't gotten triggered into our setups. So if I would just, several of these setups would have gotten triggered in if I would just use the breaker entry, which means you're just getting in at the bottom of the breaker. Those setups would have gotten triggered in and they would have hit TPs. So I used the fair value gap entry inside the breaker, which means I'm going to get even fewer setups triggered in. So that's kind of the difference in why I take so few trades. GJ would have been a break-even trade there if you were in that. EJ, look, so here's a perfect example. EJ came back down and just touched the breaker. The reason I don't like breaker entries is because if your entry is here at the top of the breaker, now, and there's a fair value gap, you still have to use the candle that created the fair value gap as your stop. And now instead of your TP being here, your TP has to be way up here. And it's not that it can't get there, it's just you're requiring it to put in more work and effort on your behalf. Versus if it had just come down 8 more pips, we could have already gotten, we would get a better entry and our TP doesn't have to move as far. So that's the difference. If you just use an entry at the breaker itself, you're going to get more, you're going to get tagged in more often. But the TPs have to be, you're going to have a wider stop, which means your take profits are going to be wider, all that. So that's why I choose to use the fair value gap entry. I think some people call it the unicorn entry. The fair value gap inside of a breaker. EU climbing back up here, GU climbing back up, dollar finding its weakness, tapping into that daily fair value gap one more time. GJ rallying off of grabbing buy side or sell side liquidity here. EJ tapped into that breaker and it's now rallying higher. Sideways here as we come into the 8:30 open for the indexes. We have one more hour till the New York Stock Exchange open. S&P sideways, NAS still sideways. Aussie, this is, look at the daily candle, or so disgusting, man. Cat Swiss though, you get a grab of sell side liquidity here, displaced through. You've got some breaker candles right here. There was no fair value gap in there, so that's not really a valid entry. Because you're in a downtrend, you would, now that you've grabbed this buy side, you would want to see displacement back through at least this candle on CAD Swiss, and then potentially look for some type of breaker in there. UJ. Somebody said UJ. We might as well. Nothing else happening. Monthly. Pushing back up. We've tapped into this order block here. Obviously in an uptrend. Higher high, higher low. Weekly is bullish. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So we're pushing up for these highs. Right there. Daily. I don't know what's going on. Let me get rid of all this. Daily time frame, we pulled back into this fair value gap and respected it, and we're pushing higher. So your short-term drawn liquidity is that high. You grabbed and broke structure here on the 4-hour. Grab liquidity. We displaced higher. There's your 4-hour breaker with your fair value gap. Came back down into the fair value gap, but didn't touch the breaker, and we pushed higher here. 1 hour. We're moving sideways, just engineering liquidity here right now. Kind of expanding the liquidity range. So we're grab some sell side, grab some buy side, grabbed internal sell side, grab some external buy side. I kind of think it's going to run this, but I wouldn't be surprised if it pushes back down. Hey, love. And grab some more sell side. A lot of times before it runs buy side liquidity, it will run up to it and then leave it and then come back down, grab some, and then get an aggressive move through. So kind of what I wouldn't be surprised if we reach back down into here or even here before we try to reach for that. Maybe tomorrow with the news. Or Friday's news. All right, we're getting some displacement up here on EU. Michael's plays that he wants to see this buy side get run and then drop lower. To me, it looks more bullish. We've run sell side. If we get displacement up here, you could use this as your breaker to go higher. I'll go ahead and take that off. See where we sit inside. But we would need the next two 15-minute candles to verify that before we did anything. GU might be a little bit better. You've run sell side, sell side. If you can displace back above here, you might have a good breaker entry. No barking today? There's no boogeyman? You're so beautiful. Remy the Golden Doodle. Getting his pants in. What's going on over here? Gold. Michael, don't you say that. AU swept sell side. Not sure where you would look for the breaker block. Maybe the last pullback in the current move. I don't know. This is just disgusting. It's still inside this dealing range. It's just there's just nothing on AU. There's no trades for me on AU. U.S. oil. Ooh, I haven't looked at oil in a while. Now that's a good thing to look at because that has. I mean, yeah. Let's look at U.S. oil. Now I don't know which one. Let's see. TVC, FXCM. I don't know which one. Let's just use this one. Monthly. Man, a lot of clean lows down here on the monthly. But it's reaching up into those clean highs right now. You got some clean highs right here. It's just reached up into. We had a failure to displace below and make new lows. So definitely we've tapped into this nice clean level here inside this fair value gap right there. So still got a little room to push up. Obviously been for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. We've seen nothing but higher prices on the weekly. A couple small pullbacks here on the daily. But it's definitely very bullish on oil. 4 hour, we grabbed sell side liquidity. We displaced through this high. These two up close candles ran liquidity. We displaced up. Beautiful breaker. It's just never come back down into here. You have a very clean sell side liquidity. You've tapped into the buy side, as we've seen. So potentially, you could get pull back into here to go long. Let's see, you've grabbed sell side, displaced up. Came back into the fair value gap with this breaker. I mean, you could potentially look at something like that. On an oil trade, you grab this, you took out this sell side liquidity here, rebalanced, came down, displaced higher, left behind that fair value gap right there. This candle closing back inside isn't ideal for the setup. It did close above the breaker, so even though it was bearish, it did close above the breaker and it did leave your fair value gap. So you could see that just push up from there. You do have a nice little 15-minute breaker set up there. Grab liquidity, displace fair value gap. Euro stalls out here on this 15-minute candle. Well, the new 15-minute candle just opens. No displacement here. No follow through. Oh, man. Junk. Nothing but junk. I want to go higher so the order block would become the breaker. I see. So you want that. You want it to run through there and then get this as your breaker. We might get it. We might get it, Michael. That's kind of the way I see it is if you've run sell side. And if you could get this 15-minute candle, if we can get some displacement above here, we might have a nice little entry. You also have a similar setup on GU. If you could get some displacement above these highs, we might could find a setup there as well. Will you not take the setup if there's no fair value gap? Correct. Well, I would say 98% of the time, yes. There are, if there's two large overlapping wicks where a fair value gap would have been, I will use the wicks. But that does not happen very often. Euro CAD, Euro New Zealand. With Euro strength, there may be potential for a buy setup. EUR, let's look at Euro CAD, shall we? Well, it's definitely taking off. But I don't see, your setup was, here's your run on liquidity, here's your displacement. And then this was your fair value gap into the breaker right there. That was your buy, but that was at 4:30 this morning. Currently no breaker on Euro CAD. Euro Aussie. We've grabbed sell side and now we've displaced higher. Nothing super clean there on a breaker setup. I mean, if I was just using an OTE, this was your OTE setup right here. And again, that was the 6 o'clock, the order block OTE setup. That was your buy right there. And you would have already hit in TP. That was your OTE setup, order block OTE. You could, I mean, you could still look for something like this. Well, we're going to have to wait to see it start to pull back to find out where that high would be. But you might still be able to find an OTE setup in there if that's, whoops, if that's your cup of tea. Man, if we can get this, if we can get this candle to close up above here. GU lagging still. EU is showing some strength. What about We've grabbed some sell side liquidity here on EG. Starting to displace a little fair value gap right here that it hasn't come back into yet, but not much. Suryadev 800 subs. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. That is a big number. Definitely one I was not expecting to be at just 3 months in. Let's see. June, July, August. So August the 14th will be 3 months, and we're at 800 subs on YouTube. So that was not within my expectations when I started this, for sure. So everything that we've done so far has vastly exceeded my expectations for how I thought the stream would go. I honestly thought it would be right about now that we would have like 5 or 10 people watching every day and maybe 50, 60 subs, you know. So I'm very happy with how fast we have come to where we are. We've plateaued in the last, 3 weeks. No biggie. I'm not doing this for fortune and fame. So I'm fine with the slow, steady growth. What makes that a breaker on oil? Let me go back. I don't remember now. What makes this a breaker is this was the last up close candle before you ran this swing low. It's not the cleanest run of liquidity for sure, but this push up ran liquidity here, and actually you would need to use all 3 of these. This push up initiated this run down, we ran liquidity and then displaced higher. But you can see this fair value gap, it's holding, but it doesn't look like it wants to hold. So again, it's not the most beautiful, perfect. This would have been a great setup right here. If you had gotten all of this liquidity built up, you get a quick stab down and then displacement. Then you could have identified a breaker in here, but you didn't never get the run on liquidity first. So this would have been the ideal spot to get the run on liquidity. Subhin, on euro dollar, yeah, I would like to see this breaker block, or turn this into a breaker block. Ideally, that's what I'm looking for. Or on GU, turn this into a breaker block. Doesn't look like we'll get the fair value gap on the breaker on a U. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, there's a small one here, but it would need to move up pretty quickly here. but it doesn't look like it wants to do that. But we'll see. You never know. Coming into the 9 o'clock hour now. And EJ had the best setup of the day, but it didn't even get down into the fair value gap. The indexes might give us something here. One of these indexes might give us something. We could get some displacement through one of these candles. Probably not going to be NAS just because it's not really leaving a clean fair value gap anywhere in there. S&P also not really leaving a clean fair value gap anywhere. US 30 potentially. Potentially. What do you have to say about people speaking against break even? I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I don't have any problem with it at all. If your profit, like if your TP is like 1.5 or 2 and you don't move to break even, it's either a TP or it's a loss. I think that's fine. Now, if your TPs are like 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 or higher, and you're not moving to break even, I think that's stupidity. I don't think that's a very wise move to be 3R in profit, potentially up 3, 4, 5% on an account, and then watch it turn around and lose 1 or 2%. That's asinine to me. I don't understand that. Are you comfortable with your candlesticks colors? I'm pretty comfortable with them. I mean, they've been this way for a long time, and I like them. They're easy on my eyes. I don't have to strain. I kind of dig them. I mean, chat, do you not like my candlestick colors? I've got to go, Cisco. Catch you next time. Happy hunting. See you, Cisco. Thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate you being here, as always. Emmanuel, I do 1 to 2 stop loss or TP. It prevents me from micromanagement trades. Yeah, that's the one thing. The good thing about not moving a stop loss is once you're in a trade, it's just either a win or a loss. And if you have a TP of 1, like I said, 1 to 1, 1.5 or 2, you don't have to move your stop loss to break even. I like 2 at 1.5. I mostly just because it's very difficult for me to stomach being up, like I said, 3% and then watching that turn into a 2% loss. So when I'm up 1.5, I move to break even for my own sanity. Here we go into the 9 o'clock hour. EU finished up above there. That's kind of nice. Finally got some displacement up on EU there. So, all right. Let's see what else we could be looking for here. This could be one of those examples where it's like I don't need the fair value gap. There's a small one at the bottom end of the breaker, but I don't want to wait for it to come that far back down. I would just target 50% of the breaker there. Something like that. And I would just put it at the bottom of that fair value gap. That gives me 7.7, which is very well in line with my risk model there. And you've got these relative equal highs up here as you're drawing liquidity. 1, 2, 3 relative equal highs. Actually 4 if you come all the way back over here. So you've got quite a bit of room to run. And you're getting that push up here. I'm kind of digging that. I'm going to let this 15-minute candle print, and then we'll see what we get. EU potential breaker. Yep. Surrey Dev potential breaker here on EU setting up very nicely. GU also, if we could get GU to push up, we have another opportunity there on GU as well. EJ pushing hard. Come on. Go away. I do like that. That's looking good. I don't think about your candlestick colors. I don't either. It never even phases me until somebody says something about them. They are what they are. Just be thankful he has dark background. These white backgrounds burn eyeballs out. Yeah, I cannot do the white background. I can't. It's pretty annoying. I do not like the white background. Yeah, you better put some sunglasses on. Staring at a white background screen for 2.5 hours, it's not ideal. Yeah, the pink is better for me than the red. It's not as aggressive. It's like boy candles and girl candles. The stronger sex and the weaker sex. And that's not a sexist comment. That's just generally referred to masculine and feminine. All right, baby. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I had to see the wife off for a minute. My motorcycle was behind her car that she was taking today, so I needed to. I trust that she would have seen the backup camera and seen the motorcycle there, but I also didn't trust that. So. Candlesticks can only come in 2 colors. Well, I mean, your up candle can only be one color, and your down candle can only be... I mean, I don't know. My chart used to be all one color, John. So... very non-binary candles. These are very binary candles, but I guess you could have non-binary candles. They could all be blue. They used to all just be one color, so you just weren't, there was never any, confusion, so to speak. Good job, Easy SMC. Not a bad little pickup here. You're getting some displacement on GU. Again, I want to let this 15-minute candle print, and then we'll see if we can get some kind of setup here, because it looks really good. I'm a fan. That oil breaker is reacting nicely there. About 6 more minutes here, and I'll... if EU runs away from us, we do have this GU set up that could potentially be a nice play. But you're going to need the next 15-minute candle to also close above this line here. Kai says, hi, if you don't mind me asking, is trading your main source of income? It could be, but it is... I don't know how to answer that question. I still work at the church that I have worked at for 18 years. And I don't plan on stopping that. And I mean, I'm not getting rich working at a church, believe me, but I still work there, and I still take a full-time income from that position. And it's a very good income. But I wouldn't have to have it, I guess is the best way to say that. But we're in a position where we're just like my wife. She just went to work. She works at a spin cycle. She's been working there for 6 years. She absolutely loves it. She's a gym rat. She's in the gym all the time. She loves to work out. She doesn't have to work there, but she does, because we both go crazy sitting around doing nothing. We're both like wired to constantly be doing something. And when we sold our house, so we, personal back history story, we have 4 kids. We got married very young. I was 21. She was 20. We wanted to have at least 3 kids and maybe 4. That's what we had talked about before we got married. which is a crazy story in and of itself. I met my wife. I asked her to marry me 2 weeks after I met her. She didn't even know my last name when she said yes. We got married 6 months after we met. It truly was love at first sight. And it was a complete God thing, quite honestly. So we got married. 9 months after we got married, she got pregnant. And we were not intending to get pregnant that soon. We were planning on waiting until we were around like 23, 24. Give us a couple years to kind of get to know each other, because we'd only known each other like 6 months. But life happens, and she got pregnant 9 months after we were married. So we knew we wanted to have our kids pretty close together. So she has 2 brothers, and they were very far apart. She was basically raised as an only child. Like, her oldest brother's like 12 years older than her. Her next youngest brother's like 7 years older than her. They were very far apart in all of their kids' ages. And she didn't really like that. I have 2 brothers. We were very close in age. And so we just kind of were like, hey, we want to have our kids close together. We like when they can, be playing together. We can raise them all at once, kind of get through that stage of life and move on. So once we got pregnant, we were like, well, here we go. So we had 4 kids. So we got married in 1996. We got pregnant in 1997, towards the end of 97. And then we had our first child, our daughter, in 1998. And then we had our son in 2000. And then we had another son in 2002. And then we had our last child, our last daughter, in 2003. And so she's actually turning 20 years old this month in about a week and a half. She'll turn 20. And we've been married for December this year will be 27 years in December. And we have always worked. Like I said, I have basically worked in a church or ministry job my entire life. And before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and set this trade up on EU. And I'm going to use this breaker here. And I'm going to put my stop at the bottom of that candle. It's about 7.5 pips. And we'll pull that down to about right there. There we go. Let me just, I haven't checked my trade copier here. I'll get this called out to you guys in just a second. Give me 1 minute. All right. Cool. All right, let me get this in here and we'll get this called out. There we go. The entry is 09762. The stop loss 09688. And the TP is 09919. All right. Trade called out. So we have a kids. So we were working. We've always been in ministry. We have not been rich. We have lived paycheck to paycheck most of our lives. And see you, Muhammad. Yeah, I'm 48. I'm not trying to not hide that. I'm 48 years old. So we live paycheck to paycheck, man. We had 4 kids. We had 2 in diapers for 8 years, man. It was hard. She always had to work basically full time or a couple part-time jobs. I mean, we were just paying bills. We were living by faith that God would provide, and He always did. Whether it was through jobs or through family or friends or other ways. I mean, there were times when we would have to ask, we would have to reach out to parents and be like, hey, I'm not sure how we're going to pay our electric bill. Can you help out? I can pay you back when we get paid, stuff like that. We had to do that when we were young. And then as kids get older, you just realize they get more and more expensive. They don't get cheaper. They get more and more expensive. And so that's kind of how life went. It's just kind of been a constant struggle financially for us. Never really had any kind of savings to speak of. And that's why I'm telling you, what I'm telling you is that we're really at a place right now where we're trying to actually create savings and create some kind of future stability so we had 2 of our kids get married last year. My oldest daughter and my oldest son both got married last year, one in June. My son just celebrated his 1-year wedding anniversary. And my daughter got married in November, so their 1-year anniversary is coming up. But 2 weddings last year it took a chunk. I had already been funded, and we used a lot of that to help cover weddings and the little bit of savings that we did. So this year has been basically recovery, refilling the coffers, which is one reason why I am still full-time as well at my church. Now, the church that I work at, I've been there a long time, and there's not like I don't have to like punch a clock. It's very, there are definitely expected times I'm supposed to be there and working in the office, which I do. But it's very, very flexible. and they're very gracious with how I manage my time. And if I'm getting my job done, they're not like checking over my shoulder and, looking how much time I've spent doing this or that. I manage a team of about 9 full-time staff, and I make sure. So it's a big church. It has multiple locations around the Houston area, and I just make sure that I oversee all of the programming for all of the services, all of the music. We have multiple bands, multiple music leaders, the tech, the tech side of it, the multimedia side of it, the graphics, communication side of it, all of that stuff. And so, I mean, we have a lot of I have a lot of meetings I have to be at and all that kind of stuff. But all that to say, I love that job. I absolutely love that job. If I was not trading, I would be doing that job. And even I am trading and I'm still doing that job. I love it. I love being in ministry. I love serving and helping, which is one of the reasons why I like doing this stream, is because I like just being able to serve and help people. So that's really what it comes down to, is we could live off of the trading income. But because of kind of where we've come from for the last 27 years and the state of our finances, it's not wise. We have a lot of ground to make up financially to put our plate to recover, not only just from last year with the weddings that we had to help pay for, but even beyond that, just setting ourselves up for the future and retirement and other investment opportunities. So all of that is why I still have my job. So that's kind of a Venator behind the scenes little story there. You can swing EU for sure. Look at that 1 hour time frame. There are a lot of confluences to shoot up. Yes, there are. This is one of those trades where I feel like if we could get tagged in, like holding for those highs and pulling out a 1 to 5 is very tempting. I can't remember where it was. I think it was right there. We'll just have to wait and see. We got to get tagged in first, which we haven't been able to do for quite a while. Coming into the 9:30 open, so we'll hop over to the indices here and see what might be playing out. US 30 has tapped into its sell side here. NAS has not yet. I mean, S&P is not. NAS has. They did that earlier today, though. Same age as me, almost. Are you older or younger? H. Tempting, but rules are rules. 2 to 1 is the way. 2 to 1 is the way. I mean, I don't care if it hits up there. I just want. I hit a 2 to 1, baby. I make 4% profit. Oh, Kai says, amen. Thank you for sharing. Sure, man. If it gets tagged in and displaces above the highs, then it could very well reach equal highs. Maybe not today, but eventually. Yeah, I agree. I love your story. May God bless you through. Thank you, Sir Dev. I appreciate it. And it's probably not very dissimilar to a lot of people's stories and a lot of reasons of why there's other stuff in other parts of our story. Like I've always been looking and needing, because we've lived paycheck to paycheck because of ministry. Again, when you're working for a church, you're doing it because you feel compelled by your faith to not be in the business world making as much money as you can. And so, yes, you do get compensated, but you're not there to get as much worldly wealth as you can. And I'm not opposed. I'm not saying everybody should do that. I'm just, that's the calling I have felt for me to do that. But when you do that, that doesn't just mean that all of your financial stress goes away just because you're in ministry. Like, you still have bills to pay, you still have obligations, you still have mouths to feed, all of those things. So I've always looked for side hustles and always looked for ways to produce more income. I had my real estate license for several years and actually did pretty decently with that all the way up until the pandemic hit. But that was also about the same time that I was getting into trading. And I realized I could produce real estate type income from trading. And when the pandemic hit and I couldn't do real estate anymore because they just shut everything down and I lost my whole pipeline that I had built up, and trading at that point had taken over and I was just sitting at home doing all of that. So trading took away but before I was a realtor, the side hustle was, we started a screen printing company where we would print t-shirts for people. And we started that back in 2014. And we just started it out of our garage. And we ended up having to move into a little bit of a bigger garage that my in-laws owned next to our property. The business was doing really well, but it was one that I was having to do so much of. It was at a point of, this either needs to become our full-time thing or we need to sell it. And I did not feel like I wanted to go full-time making t-shirts. So we sold it. And we actually did really well on that. And that was a nice little hit for us. But it wasn't, it couldn't last. It was killing me working a full-time job at the church and then trying to come home and work another full-time job every night, all afternoon, every weekend. It was the most physically demanding job. But we got out of that. But there's been lots of things, man. I mean, trading's the one though that is, I can do this in the mornings before I go to work and I'm done. I'm done for the day after that. So I can get up early. It starts my day, and before my day actually gets going, I don't have to do anything else. And it's going to be able to produce long-term some of that financial stability that we never had before. So 2 weeks ago, so a little older. So you're 49 now. It's nice to have some older gentlemen in the group. I'm told that I don't look my age. Most people who meet me, when they hear I'm 48, I'm married for 27 years and have 4 kids and 2 of them are married, are often pretty taken back by that. So we need the dollar to pull back here, and not just run away. Coming into the 9:30 open, which means we only have about another hour to go before we have to cancel this order. So that's about 4 more 15-minute candles here. So Cisco, you missed my entire life story. And we did put an order in on EU here. We're waiting on EU. GU may give us a setup as well. It's finally displaced, but again, there's not a good, clean, fair value gap in there to target. I would probably just target 50%. There's a big one on the 5-minute, but maybe come back down somewhere in there. Trying to even see what would... That's probably where I would target. It's just somewhere right in there, but we need the dollar to relax a little bit here and not just tank. But it wouldn't surprise me, because every time we have called a trade, the train just leaves the station without us. It's very, very frustrating. I'm going to drop down here to the 5-minute and just eyeball something here. We definitely need it to get a little pullback. We have 4 15-minute candles to get triggered in here. Galaxy says UJ is pulling back. I'm not going to jump over there and look at that. What's the U.S. oil trade? Oh, came up, came back down. That's not looking too good. I would think because it fell to displace above here, that stop's going to get slammed. A failure to make a new high is a sign. You now have a swing level here that couldn't break that high, so this is definitely going to be. I think I would be not be surprised if this gets run. It's holding. This fair value gap's holding out really strong, but the inability for price to displace higher here is concerning. I'm afraid dollar may have already had its pullback into the breaker, may not come back again. Yeah, that's kind of my fear here is it's reached back up into this candle right here, closed below it, came back up into it. I would prefer to see if it can pull back up into this level. That would potentially align with that here. Close to a 50% return of this push up. I'm just targeting 50% of the breaker there as an entry. That's all I'm doing. Nicely done, Easy SMC. 1% pulled out on GU. I'll have to watch what I missed later. Yeah, I mean, we just gave like a little 10-minute spiel on just kind of how my wife and I, where we came from. Somebody had asked about if our full-time income is just trading. And so I explained, I gave the backstory why it's not yet. I feel like once I have a couple of years salary, ministry salary saved up in the bank, and I've had, well, that's probably the biggest number is 2 years. I would know I would be able to trade for 2 years and be okay, never make any profits, and still be able to survive that. So, and because we had already drained all of our, basically all of our funds for our weddings and stuff last year, we've just been kind of recouping everything up to that point. The market is broken right now. I know it does not work right. I need someone to go in there and fix it. Open the hood and fix it. I need to get off the stream here in probably about, oh, wait, let me see. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to get off here in about another 5-10 minutes. I like that we're putting in a little level here and creating some, we're engineering some buy-side liquidity. I'm really liking that. So that, you know, we could get a little pullback here from this location and take out that 4 a.m. London high. We get a little pullback in here, drop back down in here to some of this choppiness. We just need to get tagged in, and then we could take out that buy side the rest of the day today. You can't use GIFs in the chat. I guess the YouTube chat doesn't allow it. I don't know. Is there a setting I could use to fix that? I don't think there is. I think emojis is all you can do. Is a minister allowed to cuss? Hell yes, we are. I mean, no, that's not true. So I'm probably a lot different than a lot of people who view cussing. I think cussing is completely cultural. That the culture has determined that there's certain words that are bad words and there's certain words that are good words. And depending on where you are in culture, in the country and the world, some words that you use right now are probably considered vulgar in other parts of the world. And words that they use that what they would consider a bad word here in my culture, they wouldn't even bat an eye at. So theologically, if we want to have a theological discussion about it, I'm a Christian. And so I'm not telling you that you should be a Christian. I'm just telling you, here's how I get to where I get to on cussing. So the Bible is split up into two books, basically, two volumes. So you have the Old Testament, which is all of the history of God's people up until Jesus Christ shows up. From Jesus Christ on, you have the New Testament books. Okay, so you kind of have to understand where I'm going with this. That's why I'm giving you a little Bible lesson right now. It's not to convince you that you should be a Christian. So let's just be clear. I don't want this stream to be about that, but somebody asked me about cussing, and I think you should understand this. So in the Old Testament, God had given the Israelites all of this law that you had to follow. And part of that law was if you broke the law, then you needed to go pay the penalty for your sin. So you commit a sin, to be right with God and to be okay with God, you would need to go to the temple, to the tabernacle, and you would need to meet with a priest. You would need to sacrifice a animal, a blood sacrifice to cover your sin, right? So that's how the entire Old Testament for thousands of years, this is how people would be made right with God. They would have to try to keep the law as perfectly as they could. And when they couldn't keep the law, if they ever broke the law, that would be sinning. And so then you would need to be made right with God. And so part of that law is don't murder, right? Don't kill people. That's a big one. Don't commit adultery. Like, don't sleep with your neighbor's wife. Don't sleep with your brother's wife. Don't sleep with someone else who's not your wife. Okay? Big one. Don't commit adultery. If you go look at the Bible and you look at the law that was given to the Israelites in the Bible, it is very long. There are so many rules to keep and to follow, right? And it's impossible to keep the law. I mean, the whole law is really given to you to show you that you can't keep it. You can't do it. You're not good enough to keep this whole law. So when Jesus shows up in the New Testament, right, he's having these conversations with the religious leaders of the day called Pharisees. The Pharisees were basically the religious policemen, and they would basically, they were the high and mighty of the day. They were the important people in the Jewish culture. And they basically, were very proud of themselves about how they could keep the law. And Jesus would point to them, and he would tell them things like this. He would say, look, you've heard it said, or your law says, or you've heard Moses say, because Moses is the one who gave them the law, instituted the law. They would say, you've heard it said, you shall not kill someone. But I'm here to tell you that if you even hate your brother, you've already committed murder in your heart. And so he turns the whole law upside down, and he tells you it's not about the act itself. It's about the intentions of your heart. He says, you've heard it said, you should not commit adultery. You should not sleep with your brother's wife, right? And then he says, but I'm here to tell you, if you even look at a woman with lustful intentions, you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. And so those are just two examples. There's others, but he even talks about speaking, and he's like, out of the, so cursing, for example. So basically what Jesus is teaching is that it's not the physical action of what you're doing. Now, that is the ultimate sin. While, yes, the physical action is a sin in and of itself, but even your thoughts can betray you, and even your intentions and your desires are really what you're saying. So that's the backstory. Now let me relate this to what I'm talking about with cussing. It would be like Jesus coming and saying, you've heard it said, thou shalt not cuss, right? You should not use this specific word, which he never says that. You should not use this specific word. But I'm here to tell you that if you say a word, but inside you're thinking of a different word, guess what? You're already cussing. So when you hear people say, dang it, or darn it, or gosh, shoot, golly, it's the same thing as saying all the other words. Like, we know what you're saying. We know what you're saying. And just because you're not forming those consonants and those vowels with your lips doesn't mean you're not cussing. You're all cussing. Every one of you is cussing. You're just not using that specific letter or that specific word. Same thing. So all of that to say, I will cuss. I will say the words. But I am also, because of my faith, I will be very, very cautious about where and when I use that language. If I'm around someone that I know they're going to be extremely offended by a certain word or a certain language or whatever it is, I'm going to set aside my freedom to use that word so that I don't offend that person. And so I'm going to obviously tame my tongue and control my mouth in certain contexts, in certain places. And it's all contextual for me. Like, I'm just going to be wise, and I'm going to use the language that I need to use for the context that I'm in. And if I know that I've offended somebody, I'm going to go back and I'm going to apologize. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I will be more conscientious when I'm around you in the future. But I am definitely not a cussing police man. I will use them. Sometimes they're the best thing to say at the right time. That's the best word you can use very often to express exactly how you feel. Don't get me wrong, even though I'm not living in the US, I'm from the US. I cuss all day long, especially when trading. Yeah, trading can pull out a lot of cuss words out of people. No doubt. Bro, you talk like you're a power city. I don't know what that means. I don't know who Abel Demina is. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not going to get into a lot of theology. Shadow trades. I do believe in Jesus. I do believe he is the Son of God. I do confess him as my Savior. But besides that, that's all y'all need to know about it. If you want to have a private discussion about religion, you can DM me on Twitter. I'm more than happy to talk about it. I don't want this stream to become that. That is not my desire or intention at all. So, fiddlesticks. That's exactly right, man. My mother-in-law, oh my gosh, y'all. I love her to death. She's one of the most amazing women in the world. But the word shit for her is not a cuss word. So she can say shit, but you can't say anything else. You can't say ass, damn, hell. I don't like using the F word. I'll use it occasionally. You definitely can't say that. You know, but it's so funny that she has one specific cuss word that's okay to use. Like, somehow she's just decided in her mind that one's okay and the rest of them are off limits. It's hilarious to me. So there's some people like that, though. It's just the way they work. Are we gonna have a trade after 2 weeks? Oh my gosh, we are so close. The drum roll, the anticipation. Is it gonna happen? Are we gonna get a trade? I'm so close to getting triggered in. I'm gonna have to clip this. I'm gonna get to make a short today, a YouTube short. Hell, even if we lose, at least we get some action. Let's go. If it swerves right here, you're gonna hear some cuss words. I promise you. If it swerves right here, you're going to get some cuss words. Oh, man. Oh, we got triggered in. We have a trade after almost 3 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Venator Trading is in a trade. Oh, it feels so good. Now, I don't even care if it just demolishes my stop loss right now. I just don't even care. I don't even care. It's fantastic. It's so happy. I'm so happy. So freaking happy. I hope it just smashes our stop loss. I don't even care. I just really do. It's a 2% risk. It's always 2% risk here. If we lose this trade, I'll lower my risk down to 1%. It's a 15-minute time frame. Man, I can't believe we're in a trade right now. It's been so long. It's been so long. I mean, gah. I don't even know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with myself. What do I do? How do I handle myself now? I don't know what to do. What do we do? Somebody tell me. I've forgotten what to do. Oh yeah, nothing. Nothing. That's what we do. We do nothing. We're in a trade and I need to go. People are gonna start texting me and be like, "Hey, you coming into work today?" Nas dropping like a freaking rock. S&P dropping. US 30 probably is gonna drop. Typically, when they're dropping this hard, it's not great news for the dollar or euro. Typically, it's going to be pretty weak, which is what we're seeing here. So, again, I don't care if we lose. I'm just happy we're in a freaking trade. Dang it, man. Let's take that loss on the chin. Come on. Now I just kind of want to sit around and watch it live on the stream. That's kind of what I want to do. It's just take the loss with everybody live right here, just to say we did it. Trade finally. This is official. New max time with no trade was 7 weeks. No, it hasn't been 7 weeks, has it? I guess it has. No, we haven't taken we haven't won a trade in 7 weeks, but we've taken trades. It's been what? It's been a while since we've taken a trade. It's been like 2.5 weeks since we actually got into a trade. The last trade we took was a break-even trade. That was the very last trade we took. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't have a super strong feeling. Seeing how weak all of the indexes are here doesn't make me feel super confident about the dollar falling off from this point. So it makes me less likely to be inclined that we're going to get a good be able to pull out a win on here. I will see. Man, 3-hour stream on a Wednesday. 3-hour stream on a Wednesday. Oh, I forgot to I need to copy this out, the trade alert. I need to copy that out and put a trade update on Twitter so no one thinks that I'm not doing my job. EURUSD. Trade has been triggered. Haven't said that in a minute. All right. I've called that out. We've got our trade triggered in. We're in the trade. Man, it's just good to be back in a trade. It's just be good to be back in a trade. Walk away. Yeah, now we dance. We walk away. Is there a NAS 100 on MT5? I can't find it. Yeah, well, I don't know what it's called on your broker. On mine, it's called NDX 100. NDX is what it's called on mine. NDX 100. Mohammed, I'm back at last. EU moving. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see what happens. You forget what you're supposed to do after so long with that trade. I do forget. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert right up here at these highs. And if we can get up to that high, I'll go to break even. It's not quite... Let's see, what is this? We can just drop in another... 1.5 is like right there above that. Well, that's right at 1.5, so cool. But we'll see. I don't know that we'll get there, but if we do, I'll move to break even. But we're in a trade. Let's go. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for being here on the stream with me today. It's been fun. Thank you for hanging out as always. I'm so grateful for you guys being here. I hope it's been helpful for you. Manage your trade. If you're in this trade, just manage it well. Do whatever you need to do. Walk away, close the charts, but don't worry about it anymore. But if this doesn't fit your system, you do you, and just stick to your rules and do what you need to do, guys. But listen, enjoy the rest of your day. I will be back again, as always, tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Stay safe out there. Happy hunting. And we'll catch you guys mañana. Adios.